Hello, welcome to another Tweedy Outdoors video. I am in Dartmoor once again. Just felt the urge to come back for the first bit of the long Easter weekend. It's been a bit of an ordeal getting here, but I'm not going to bore you with talk of pack trains and so on. Who cares? I'm here now and it's glorious. I've just walked up from Okehampton. I decided to come a different way this time rather than following the sort of valley of the East Oakmont River on that nice path that I took last time. I'm taking a sort of a bit of a road route to begin with. I'm going to head up to walk across those ridges over there, no, is it just Oke Tor, and eventually to Steeperton, whatever that one's called, along that ridge. And of course a wild camp, because this is Dartmoor and you know, the world is your oyster. I'm actually going to be in the danger area a bit today, so I'd already checked online the firing times, and there's nothing for the whole school Easter holidays, the whole Easter weekend, which is good. Just left the part of the road where it's still a public highway, whatever you call it. This is now just, I suppose, a permissive road or something. I have to admit, I'm finding the cars a bit annoying. It's the downside of this sort of more road-based entrance. This is, as I may have mentioned back there, this is not a public highway, whatever you call it. This is just, I suppose, possibly even maintained by the military, I don't know. But it looks just more like a track on the OS map, whereas it is in fact a very drivable tarmacked road. It's a bit annoying when you're making an effort to slog up a hill with a heavy backpack and people are just leisurely driving past. It's time for a book club with Tweedy Outdoors. I don't know if you can, you can't really see anything of it, but beyond that fence is East Oakmont Farm, and I think that's pretty much the most remote farm on Dartmoor. Although that said, I've walked up to it in about an hour from Okehampton, or less than an hour from Okehampton station. But it reminds me, I like to imagine, I've never seen it up close, but I like to imagine it's like Cold Comfort Farm, you know, the Stella Gibbons novel, and they're just finishing their meagre Good Friday lunch, and Adam is washing the dishes with his what does he call it, a clattering stick. That's what I like to think is going on just over the brow of that hill. One of the really bizarre things about Cold Comfort Farm is that it's actually science fiction. There are flying cars in it, or at least sort of individual airplanes that can take off and land vertically. And yet everything about it is a sort of, you know, mid-20th century rural squalor, but they've got flying cars. Very weird. Anyway, Cold Comfort Farm, or East Oakmont Farm over there. Still seeing cars here. It's kind of a pain when I've been walking for it doesn't feel like I've been walking for nearly an hour, but the train arrived at Okehampton nearly an hour ago. Anyway, hopefully this is going to say what I wanted to say. Great, no more cars now. That's something to do with the firing range, sure. But now we are definitely into the genuine moor, the open wilderness. I've got a new wind slayer on my GoPro, so I'm hoping, even though a bit of a breeze has now picked up as soon as we got off the road there, you can still hear me okay. It's got a nice snug fit now. Oh, you can get a glimpse of, pointing at things time, East Oakmont Farm over there. It's coming up to Oke Tor and Steeperton Tor. I've probably been calling Steeperton the wrong thing, Stapleton or Stickleton, or Steeperton is the correct name. And somewhere around here, I'm still on this, I don't know, whatever it is, military track, or we're just about inside the danger area, not far from the edge. Somewhere there's supposed to be a track that will let me head up Oke Tor. I'd quite like to go and see what that looks like from the top. Yes, that track going across to Oke Tor does indeed exist, as it says on the OS map. That's very satisfying. Beautifully clear water. Puddle on the track there filled with tadpoles. So you can see them more clearly if I agitate the water a bit. I wouldn't squash any of you there. Approaching Oke Tor. This is the top of Oke Tor. Over there we've got East Mill Tor, down to the up to the north. There is Buttern Tor. Over there is Buttern Hill that I walked over last time. Somewhere where that sort of dips down there is the stone circle, Whitemore stone circle. You can't quite see it; it's a bit difficult to pick out the spot from here. And also a little Hound Tor around there. I suppose it's that possibly Hound Tor over there, and then to the south-ish of where we are now is Steeperton Tor. It's unfortunately not an ice cream kiosk. Steeperton Tor over there. The rough plan is if I can head up to the top of that, on the OS map at least, it looked like there's a relatively well marked track or path leading down the other side, sort of across the centre, see where I'm pointing, of the moor over there, and that will take me more into stone circle territory. They all seem to be sort of clustered around here on the over towards the east side of the moor, so I somehow need to kind of go over there. Reminded of the taxi driver in Dorset. Look behind you. Really been spoiled with the weather today. I wasn't really anticipating this. I've kind of you know, throughout the winter I've got used to sort of planning for the worst case scenario of I check the mountain forecast for high willy haze, no giggling, which is over there somewhere, and it was saying, I know that is slightly higher altitude, perhaps that's another 100 meters up from where I am now, but for there it was saying maximum of 7 degrees, and we'll probably feel more like 4 or 5, whereas here right now this must be a like practically tropical 14, 15 sort of degrees, perhaps a bit less than that with a wind chill. But yes, I hadn't really factored in the possibility of actual sunshine. It has the air of a fairly old track here. It's stone lined, look, and you know, stones on the bottom and along the sides. Steeperton Tor up there. Looks like to get across to Steeperton Tor, you have to go down into this little valley and back up the other side, and perhaps that's where the name comes from. That does look a bit steep. Yeah, I say valley, but this is marked on the OS map as a gorge. This is Steeperton Gorge down here. Definitely quite steep. Wouldn't be a gorge if it wasn't steep-sided. And I'm probably going to regret this when I'm clambering up the other side and getting out of breath, but that looks delightful down there. Oh, look at that! Isn't that delightful? Now then, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, despite those gators there, that water looks a bit deeper than the top of Tweedy's boots. And you would be right. However, I've come with a secret weapon today. Let me show you. This is actually an idea inspired by my wife, who has these foldable Japanese wellies. I think they're from the Japanese Birdwatching Society or something strange like that. And they're very, very packable and light. I think it was a struggle to get them in my size, but I've found this UK company called Feats, spelt with a Z, and they make these admittedly not particularly aesthetically pleasing but eminently practical things called pocket wellies. So if you'll bear with me a moment, I will engage amphibious mode. Okay, can you see those incredibly stylish plastic bin bags I've got on my feet? So I don't think it's, I'm sure I can find a relatively shallow bit there and obviously avoid the slippy rocks and, you know, somewhere I've got a handhold, but let's give that a go. There we go. Ah! Fantastic camera work, there we go. Hopefully they don't have massive holes in and they haven't leaked, and I have perfectly dry boots underneath. So there you go. They look terrible, but you know, my these gaiters, they're not properly waterproof. They just stop, you know, splashes from wet grass or whatever. So if I'd waded across that stream, my boots only come up to here, the water came up to about there, I would have 2 very wet feet right now, and it's difficult to find a spot to probably just about hop across those rocks, but it's a bit risky when they're slippy and you know, there are rocks for me to fall onto and crack my head open. So I think that's quite a good innovation, personally. Pocket wellies. It's far too early in the afternoon to be setting up camp, but that would be a really nice spot somewhere around here in this little valley, nice and sheltered. There's some kind of little annoying flies or gnats or whatever, so that would probably be a bit of a nuisance, being near the stream. But that aside, what a gorgeous spot. Right, I'm going to try and climb up this tor now. Looks very purposeful there, almost as though that was once a standing stone or something that's fallen over. Wonderfully still. So this is Steeperton Tor. There's a few more people up at the top there. I wouldn't say it's exactly crowded on Dartmoor today, but I have seen a few other people out and about. A bit windier up here. Hopefully the wind slayer thing is doing its job and you can actually hear me. Perhaps it's easier if you do a bit of lip reading as well. It's quite a spectacular, I mean, they're all spectacular views, but that's a particularly spectacular view from Steeperton Tor. Again, I'm trying to figure out where the stone circle that I slept in last time was. I think it's sort of the other side of the sheep on the left there. Thanks for being a sort of way marker, because that's Buttern Hill, and there's a sort of semi bump where little Hound Tor is, and then there's almost like a saddle between that and Hound Tor. I think it's there, but I want to aim slightly more that way, where the sheep on the right is now indicating. Thank you, sheep. You can just about see Fernsworthy forest over there. Sort of aiming in that direction, I think. I think this is the path that will go sort of across Hound Tor over there and then take me in the direction of Score Hill, the other side of the moor. Bit of a trek probably, but still doing okay for time. It's just before 5 o'clock, about 10 to 5, and sunset will be 7:30 or so, I think, maybe even a bit later. Like to get set up with a campsite a bit before then, so I think I've got at least a good hour and a bit of walking still to go. I'm leaving the danger zone. I don't know if you can see the red and white post over there, which oh, you can camp in there as long as there's no firing on. A lot of it is in the purple zone on the wild camping map, but you know, given a choice, I'd rather be somewhere where I'm not surrounded by potentially unexploded shrapnel. Sorry, I should say potentially unexploded ordnance. The shrapnel's a bit after it's already exploded, isn't it? You know what I mean. Reached another ford here. I don't know, this one's a bit more borderline. I could probably just about manage that with my boots and the water not come over the top, but maybe there's a narrow bit along here where I can just jump over. More of a jump than a straddle in the end. I didn't film it. You don't need to see me crossing a stream, do you? We've already done that in amphibious mode back there. That was far more exciting. Another purposeful stone there, is it in shadow a bit? Obviously being stood up deliberately, maybe a boundary marker or something. So I think this is Hound Tor, now approaching, not to be confused with the more famous Hound Tor on Dartmoor. I don't know why they need to reuse names like that. Surely they didn't completely run out of names. Why don't they call it, I don't know, Milkshake Tor or Wardrobe Tor, Barometer Tor, Apple Sauce Tor, Tweedy Tor? I don't know, could have all manner of names. Why does it have to reuse one? It makes life very confusing. I'll meet you at Hound Tor for lunch. Now you are sitting here like a lemon for hours, despite despite my protestations about the name. That is a cute little tor actually. There's almost enough flat ground there to camp. Still a bit early in the day for me though, and I haven't even seen a stone circle yet, so I couldn't contemplate camping yet. Let's see what the view looks like from here. Atop Hound Tor. Ah, finally now we can see the probably you can't, over there where the tracks meet. Finally can see the Whitemoor stone circle where I camped last time. Below Buttern Hill over there, and somewhere up there is Little Hound Tor, sort of partner tor to this one. But I'm heading kind of more that way, I think. Afternoon, ladies. Once again, I've been quite fortunate with the Ordnance Survey map today. The things that seem to be marked as tracks on the OS map were indeed there. Somewhere or other, the track I'm on intersects with the one that goes between the two stone circles. So is that here or maybe a bit further on? That was all right. Okay, we are now on the Megalith Express, the trackway that links. Up that way is the Whitemoor stone circle of my previous visit to Dartmoor. Down this way, Buttern Hill stone circle and Score Hill stone circle. Well, I think this is Buttern Hill stone circle. It's not the most dramatic example. Most of the stones are lying down, recumbent, that word again, and probably quite low in the first place, in when they were all stood up. Bit of a subtle one. It's a bit boggy actually as well. It's quite waterlogged around here. But, you know, it's not entirely without charm. Nice little section over here. Looks like it has some drier ground as well. Yeah,